everyone, and welcome to the Always On Point podcast with Kristen Ambos. Today, I am here with special guest Marina from Neighborworks. So Neighborworks is our down payment assistance program here locally in Brown County, Wisconsin. She is the director of the Homeownership Counseling Center. So she knows everything inside, outside, upside down on Neighborworks and the down payment assistance. So I am so glad to have you here, Marina, and to talk to us a little bit about the down payment assistance, the loans that you have, how they're helping people in the community, what you're all about. So tell us a little bit about you and the work you do.
Perfect. Thanks for having me on, Kristen.
Yes,
good
absolutely.
So Neighborworks Green Bay is a nonprofit organization.
Yes.
We are here locally in Green Bay. We are about 42 years old. And we have been counseling and educating home buyers for a majority of that time.
Yes.
We are also what's called a HUD certified housing counseling agency. So we receive some federal funds. It's a pretty special designation. We have to pass a pretty thorough exam for it. So
I didn't know that. That's really neat to know.
Mm-hmm, okay. Absolutely. So we're really proud to we had 5 counselors on staff that are all certified, which is a pretty big deal. Some places only have 1.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm excited to be here and talk a little bit more about my department.
Yes, absolutely. So I've gotten to know Marina, especially over the years, obviously through Neighborworks, and it's near and dear to a lot of hearts, in the area. And during the COVID days became a little bit more difficult to use because the industry itself became difficult to get around and to lend through in general. Mm-hmm. But I was inspired to start on the lending and counseling committee with you that Marina runs. And there's a group of us lenders, unbeknownst to everyone, sometimes we all get along. Mm-hmm. And there's a group of us lenders that come together for the greater good with some of the counselors and some of your staff. And we actually go over what's going on in lending. We approve certain situations for clients that are getting into homes and approving them for the Neighborworks loan that they're getting. And it's just really become a neat area for me because I've learned so much myself. And what I love about it is these lenders and the staff that you have come in exactly for that, only for the greater good. It's a volunteer position, and we always look out for what's in the best interest of the borrower. Yeah. And we've said yes to a lot of people, but we've also had to say no to some. And it's not because we don't want to see them in houses. It's because we're looking at all of the aspects of their financial situation. And we want to make sure we're empowering people, that we're not putting them into a situation to default or to, they think and feel like it's a good thing, but maybe it's just not financially their right time. And I've loved that you've given such a light to that, and you've brought this committee together so well. So thank you so much for that. Can you speak to the listeners out there a little bit on what types of Neighborworks loans there are? If I'm a brand new borrower that's coming and my lender said, go talk to Neighborworks and see what maybe you can qualify for. What would you tell me if I was calling you?
Yeah. I love to be able to tell people that there are a multitude of down payment and closing cost assistance programs out there.
Yep.
So we're really excited to have a few that we administer. And then we are also excited to share with people the other options throughout the state.
Okay.
So I think one thing that can sometimes get confusing for people is we don't provide the primary financing. So that's why we do work really closely with mortgage lenders because they still have to get approved for that primary loan. And then we can provide some secondary financing to cover those down payment, closing costs, other upfront costs. So right now we have funding in 3 programs.
Okay.
So our most used program is called our Neighborworks Loan Fund.
Yep.
And that one is $7,000.
Okay.
That can go to a low to moderate income household that's purchasing here in Brown County and help them with some of those upfront costs.
Now, just so they understand, is your low to moderate income okay, a lot of that's based off of AMI, otherwise known as area median income.
Yep.
Do you guys go off the 80% standard?
We do not.
Okay.
So we actually go higher.
Good.
80% is pretty standard for a lot of other statewide programs.
Yes.
We upped ours to 120%.
Okay, perfect. So that's a lot. And the reason why I'm bringing this up to the consumers who are listening is the area median income in Brown County is right around $77,000 for that 80% area median income, which most most qualifies. So now you're going to 120. So that's closer to like $115,000,
It depends on the household size.
Oh, yes. Fair enough. Okay, great point.
Yeah,
Great point.
so-
Thank you for clarifying that.
Like for a household of one,
Yep.
it goes up to like 82,000.
Okay.
For an annual income.
Yep.
Once we reach more of like a 4-person household, we're getting into the 100,000s.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's really trying to fill that gap of people who might not be eligible for food share or for housing assistance,
Right.
But are still needing to get over that barrier of getting into a home.
Well, and there's so many people out there who qualify to be homeowners. And in fact, I just qualified. This is a little side tangent, but I just qualified a buyer who is a more than ready to purchase buyer. So her finances, everything are in line. She applied for apartment and got denied. Isn't that crazy?
Oh my God.
So when I'm saying that there's so many home buyers out there that can absolutely purchase a home, but maybe they've got the down payment, but they don't have the closing costs.
Yeah.
Or maybe they have the closing costs and not the down payment. Or maybe, the house they find, the seller isn't giving a buyer's agency fee.
Yeah.
Right? Like they're not paying the buyer's agent.
Yeah.
So now that the buyer themselves have to take that on, well, now they can pay that fee and then get this grant or the loan funds, for the rest of it. So there's so many options that we can work with, which is what I really love.
Yeah.
And now you guys will stack with WIDA,
Absolutely. Yes.
FHA,
Yep.
conventional,
Yep.
all of it. Love it. Love it. Love it. VA too, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That VA sometimes gets a little more complicated with down payment, but most of the time we can just do closing costs.
I was going to say most VA are going to take 0% down because they can.
Yeah.
Not meaning that they don't have the money, but a lot of them are like, I'm just going to keep my money over here or put the no money down. But then to pay the closing costs and everything is pretty cool too. So that availability is there.
Yeah. And I feel like there are so many people who are eligible and don't even realize it. Right? They don't even know they can take advantage of it.
I would bet anyone listening right now is like, well, wait a minute. I feel like I am hearing everything these women are saying and I'm eligible too. Or maybe I'm eligible. How many veterans out there do you think that have purchased in Brown County didn't know that they could probably get help with their closing costs and prepaids?
Yeah, absolutely. So many.
Okay. Now, do these funds ever run out? Because I know that's a question that the general public has.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think something cool about our funding is it differs from a lot of statewide programs. So we don't usually tend to like run out by the end of the year.
Okay.
It's something that we self-fund.
Yes.
So we've been able to do that through different financial institutions, through funding from our parent organization. And then when people pay back their loans to us, it just makes another loan for another household. So we have not run out in the 4 years that I have been there. So we're going to hope that keeps going.
I love that. So essentially people are paying it forward.
Absolutely, they are.
You guys, that to me is so amazing right now, where you can pay it forward to somebody else who needs it. And then when they need it, when the next person needs it, they're paying it forward to them. Like what a neat thing to help the community build.
Yeah.
Because that's really what a lot of this is all about.
It is, absolutely.
Is keeping things in the community and building the community to be a better, greater place for everyone to live.
Yeah.
Because we all know when you have a stronger community, you have stronger schools, you have stronger jobs, you have stronger,
health outcomes.
Everything. Okay, awesome.
Yeah. So it's super cool. I mean, so the loan does have to be paid back, but there's not a time limit. So that's where we really try to encourage people, like, you received some of this assistance. It helped you get where you are. if you're in the place now that you could pay it back, that can just help somebody else get into their home.
Absolutely. So maybe they refinance and they've got a lot of equity in the house.
Totally. Yeah.
And they can pay it back. Maybe they sell the house.
Yep.
And then it's technically a second lien, correct?
It is.
Okay.
Yep. It's a silent second.
I was going to say, we consider that a silent second.
Yep.
And the silent second part of it, just for the consumer to know, is means that there's no monthly payment.
Correct.
There's no accruing interest.
Yep.
So basically, it gives you the money and it's just sitting out there so that when you refinance or pay it off, that they get paid back first, or as soon as the first mortgage gets paid off, they're getting paid off second.
Yeah. Yep.
And so that's really neat. So no interest, no payment.
Yep.
Tell us what else you got.
Oh, geez. What else?
I know. Okay. So those of you that know, like for me being the lender, I don't try to be the expert in Neighborworks. I know enough to be dangerous. That's our jobs as lenders. The job we have is to say, now I need you to go to Neighborworks and I need you to meet with one of their counselors and I need you to get approved with them. And then they will tell me what you qualify for instead of me telling them what they should give you. Like it doesn't work that way. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm going to look at the consumer. The borrower, I'm going to say, okay, why don't you go talk to Neighborworks right now? I want you to meet with the counselor. You're going to do the work with them. And then they're going to give me a call. They're going to tell me what you can qualify for. And then we're going to put that into your mortgage.
Yep.
What other types of loan programs do you have for that?
So we administer the City of Green Bay's home loan program. So that one is a little bit different than ours. So that one is capped at that 80% of the area's median income.
Yep.
And that one is only for within the City of Green Bay.
Okay, so the city limits instead of the whole county.
Yeah.
Got it.
So it's pretty specific, but that one is newer. We didn't receive any funds from them last year, but this year we got 50,000. So we're excited to put that right back out in the community.
Awesome. So now is there the same amount per person that gets it, or is it a different amount?
It's a totally different amount. So what's kind of cool about this program is it's based on like a calculated need. So we have a big fancy calculation that we use.
Sure. Yes.
And somebody can get actually up to 15,000 with that program, which is a good chunk of money. Yeah.
That's a massive, awesome chunk of money.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm like, if you could see my face right now, for those of you who are just listening, not watching, I'm picking my jaw up off the floor right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that could still be combined with WIDA.
With WIDA. Okay. So what are the terms of that one? Like the payback terms?
That one, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yep. There's 0% interest, no monthly payments, and then just due back on sale if they move out, refinance.
This is about as close. Like everyone's always interested in how they can get free money. And I always giggle because we know there's no such thing as free money, right? Quote unquote. But this is about as close to free money as you can get because you just give the exact same $15,000 back when you have it. So when you sell the house and you're going to make a bunch of money, you give that $15,000 back interest free, no payments. I mean, that's about as close to free as you can get.
Absolutely.
So utilizing somebody else's money for free.
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what it is.
Absolutely.
To better your situation. So that's amazing. Okay. Tell us more. What else you got?
So
I'm loving this.
So we also have a program through American Foods Group.
Yes.
So if anybody is employed there, as long as they've been employed there for a year, they can access money to help them purchase a home. That way they can live close to where they work.
Yep.
And that one, there aren't even any income limits.
And that is true. I've been really involved in that program with you and with American Foods Group. And it is such an amazing benefit, really, to what they give their employees.
Yeah.
And so 1 year, when they work there for 1 year, how much are they eligible up to?
5,000.
And if it's 2 years, they're eligible up to 7,500?
3 years.
3 years.
Yep,
it's 3 years.
7,500.
7,500. So you go from 5,000 to 7,500. And that is a true benefit that you get. That's paid and funded by American Foods Group.
Yeah.
So that's your employer giving you that money.
Yeah. They're saying this is important. We value you as an employee.
Yeah. And we want you to be a homeowner because everyone knows, and I'm going to proceed with slight caution while saying this because there's always your one or two one-off. So I'm not going to say forever, but people, everyone, however you want to say it, know that when you have home ownership in your community, it makes it a much more stable place to live, a much more like the strength of the community grows. And so Neighborworks, along with like an American Foods Group, sat back and said, we want a really strong community for our employees. Why? Because we want to keep them employed here.
Yeah.
We want to keep them wanting to work for us. So we want to give them a benefit, but we also want them to be proud to go home at night to something that's theirs, and that all the work they're doing for us is going into something.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not just saying that obviously that's a one-off because it's American Foods Group, but take out American Foods Group, that's Neighborworks. Doing that then with the federal funds or the 501c3 funds that you get, the different federal grants you get. That's you guys stepping in saying, if you don't work for American Foods Group, we still want to help you out. Where do you work for? But now we have some other just different parameters to that loan program.
Yeah. So then we kind of set those ground rules.
Yep.
And it's a little bit of making sure that it's going to be a good situation for them, and for us, that we're going to eventually get paid back.
Yep.
And then just making sure that they are understanding what they're getting into.
Yes.
So it's a lot of that, like one-on-one education, counseling, reviewing some of their loan documents if they aren't super aware of what it means. And
there's a lot of lenders out there, unfortunately, who don't explain loan documents. Very little to nothing at all.
Yeah.
And so thank you for doing that, because it's so important. These are such critical documents that they're repetitive, but they're such critical documents that the people going into the homes buying them really do need to know what they're getting into. So thank you for that. And I've personally sent, when you talked about doing, just different counseling, like reverse mortgage counseling.
Yeah.
You guys have done that for clients that have needed reverse mortgages that I've put through, or, if we've got somebody going to Neighborworks, or even any other first time home buyer program, and that first time that first time home buyer class is needed. Yeah, you can do it online, but not everybody learns online. Some people really want to do it in person, or even with a live person online, not just a recording.
Yeah.
So, and you guys offer all of that. So that's really neat too, because I think it's important. I really do. So many people think, oh, it's just like renting. But it's not just like renting, because you can't just call your landlord when your washing machine breaks.
Totally.
Or when, your tax bill comes in higher and you're not sure where you're going to get that money and things like that. So those are real things that happen, and sitting down and working with your team to get that education and that counseling is really important. So I love that you guys offer that.
Yeah, that is honestly the best part of the job. I mean, getting to know people and helping them through.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty cool because actually our money doesn't require people to be first-time buyers.
Okay.
So people who have owned previously are still able to access the money.
You can still access the money more than once. Love that. Yeah. I'll be the first one to say, I knew that. It's so similar, and I don't mean to keep relating it to WIDA, but WIDA is always, it's you guys and WIDA right now that are the two biggest down payment assistants, right? In our market. And people always assume WIDA is for first time home buyers, and it's not either.
Yeah.
So I love that you said that, because then even if you're a second time home buyer, buying a primary residence, not a second home, but you're buying for the second time, you can use these down payment assistant loan programs and still get the assistance from the state and or the local level.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. I love that.
Yeah, it's a big benefit for sure. Because especially, we've talked about a lot of interest rates sometimes for subsequent borrowers is a little bit higher. So
they sure are.
Help your case.
Help your case. Absolutely. So if this is a way to help get in and do that. Now, with that being said, I know you obviously have all these loans and you take care of people. And I've seen every time I've been in the Neighborworks office, there's always people walking in the door looking for this kind of help, because there's also other programs outside of home buying that you work with. So do you want to touch on some of those too? Because some of our consumers listening want to be home buyers, but aren't quite ready yet. And I'm never going to push somebody into something like that until they feel confidently ready. So sometimes rentals are the right thing to do for a little while yet, or there's other programs that you have. So talk to us a little bit about that too.
Yeah. So we do have rental properties in the Green Bay area.
Yes.
So we are technically a landlord. We have, I think, over 250 rentals.
Wow. I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 50 to 100.
Oh no.
250.
Nope, there's a good chunk. Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
And most of those are rented by, people who access housing vouchers.
Okay.
And so something that we love to talk with them about and encourage is the fact that you can transfer that voucher to homeownership, which is something that is not talked about that much.
I was just going to say, please, I don't think any of our people listening right now understand or know that, are very few. So can you touch on that? Because I think that's so important.
Yes. So if you receive a housing voucher, so like Section 8 housing assistance, that can translate into your mortgage payment. So that way you continue to only pay a portion of your income towards housing, and then it helps cover your mortgage costs. Okay. It's usually only for a portion of the loan. Yep. But if somebody in your household is disabled, it's the life of the loan, which is incredible. And it's not utilized enough.
That is not utilized enough at all. So all the things and all the extra costs that families with disabilities, whether it's a mom or dad or a child, you know, anybody, any family member they're taking care of with disabilities, there's always extra expenses there to get around and make it. So that's really good to know that then you get that for the life of the loan.
Yeah. So that is what is so great about learning and meeting people, right?
Yes.
Learning their circumstances, because there are so many programs or things that people can take advantage of that are not talked about.
No.
So we're happy to place those referrals or get you in touch with people. And so we do a lot of that sort of financial education, credit education for people to get them ready if they're not wanting to purchase right now.
Credit is so important. Okay. Can you go over a little bit of what you do there with the credit? Because so many times people come to us, and I always say there's no credit report no credit score I won't work with. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean I can get you into a loan right now. Yeah. What I mean by that is lean on us, because if you don't know, and I've brought this up so many times, but financial literacy is not taught or is taught very little. And people just truly don't understand. Yeah. And then they find themselves in a hole, and it becomes overwhelming, and they just don't know. They want to get out, but they don't know how. Yeah. And so credit, if you have even, you know, maybe not great credit now, it doesn't mean that you can't buy a home. It means work with us. Let us help you get you that credit counseling you need so that you can become a home buyer, and it becomes real then, instead of doing nothing about it for years, wondering what if. Let's do now. So when somebody comes to you and says, I'd like some credit counseling, what does that look like from Neighborworks end?
Yeah, well, so we are lucky, since we are a HUD certified housing counseling agency, we can pull a tri-merge credit report. Okay. And it is only a soft pull, so it doesn't affect
beautiful, because people are all over the place about wanting soft pulls versus hard pulls.
Yeah, so we're able to do that. And so it's a lot of one-on-one education of pulling that, taking a look at their situation. We're able to get a credit score through that too, which is really nice. And then coming up with an action plan, right, of what we can address. Are we looking at collections? Are we looking at judgments? What is the best option for you?
Yeah. So what do you think in that is one of the number one things you see?
Medical collections.
So, and this will be interesting. It's not in place as of today, at this time of this podcast. However, the credit bureau agencies, there is information that is coming out where the medical collections are supposed to be removed, because people can't control when they need help, and that shouldn't ruin their credit for life and moving forward. Yeah. And it does. But I love that you guys offer that. Now, is there a cost for that? Does Neighborworks have a cost for that credit counseling?
Nope.
No cost.
No cost.
What does it cost me to come in and talk to you about looking at getting a first-time home buyer class and starting that education so that I can hopefully meet with a lender and get pre-approved?
Yeah. Our home buyer education class is $50.
Okay. That is a very minimal price to pay, though, to get all of that information, and then probably some credit counseling with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can do two for one.
2 for 1. Absolutely.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So all of this information is so important. Marina, if I am looking, and I don't want to talk to a lender yet because they freak me out and scare me to death. Yeah. Because that happens with people every day. I get it. They're not ready. Where can I find you?
So we are located in downtown Green Bay. We're in the Navarino neighborhood. You can stop by our office. We're open 9 to 5. Otherwise, we have a lot of good information online. Yes. We're available by email, phone call, text message.
Yes.
So just reach out and we'd be happy to talk.
And your website is so user-friendly and it's packed full of information. I've snooped on there tons of times when I'm nosing around looking for, info and things like that for clients. And I tell you what, anytime you walk in that office, you're going to be greeted with a smile and people who are like jumping at the chance to help. You really do have a great office. And this is somewhat of a this is a nationwide. So you can find it in other places than Brown County. But in our local markets, that's where you are.
Yeah. Yep. So we're part of Neighborworks America.
Yep.
And so there are four other Neighborworks organizations in the state.
Okay.
And yeah, then all around the country.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
doing a lot
awesome.
of good work.
You are doing a lot of good work, and keep it up, because what you're doing for this community, I see it all the time. You guys got to believe me on this one. Go online, see the work they do. It is really incredible. And I feel completely honored to be a part, a very small part, but a part of the lending and counseling committee. And it was so important for me to get you on this podcast, just to bring knowledge and to bring awareness to what you guys offer. Because I just don't think enough of the I want to say the world, but especially the people in Brown County, they just don't know enough about it. And so we'll keep spreading that word.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks for letting me chat.
Yeah, you're so welcome. And for those of you who have any questions on Neighborworks, you can always feel free to reach out to me. Otherwise, we will have their information in the podcast notes. So please look there. Or like we said, go over to their website and you can contact any of their counselors and even walk in, say hello, meet with them, and get a plan started. So thank you again so much. We appreciate all of you listening to the Always On Point podcast with Kristen Ambos. We do ask that the only notice of entry is to like and subscribe, and even share this with a friend, if you will. We're working really hard to getting towards all of those downloads and just becoming a part of your weekly listening schedule. So again, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.